guys. We want to see all the matches played. We will need to be aware of that as we come into it, though. Or he could just be blowing smoke off of our ass, and you know.
Yeah, he has a remote. He has a remote satellite dish somewhere in the Caribbean right now, drinking Mai Tais on a beach. And that's
he's
where
Breen. Yeah, he's got like 8 satellite dishes in the back of his Buick. Yeah. So we'll see what comes to pass here. But we are indeed going into Blood Run. We got ID. We got Griffin. Oh man, he's evolved. He's got double the I and double the D now. All right. Griffin's spilling it the same old boring way. All right.
The boring way.
Just the same old way he's always spelled it. Look at this. ID's got twice the number of letters he had before. It's pretty awesome. All right.
So one of the interesting things, I really see the spawn rate who is this I'm watching right now? I can't tell what the spec. I got an icon covering the name here. It was the IIDD. The SNG, the Super Nailgun spawn, is just not. Oh, from my personal opinion, I hate spawning there. It's because you just put yourself at risk running that heavy armor. I'm always worried I'm going to get hit with the direct rocket.
All right, but as we roll into it here, we don't have either of them getting too awkward of a spawn, except for, you know, a little bit of that armor play. Really nice rocket coming out of Griffin there to immediately burn off all of that large... Actually, not even burn it off, even prevent the grab. And now he's dropping down with only a Dire Orb, a Nail Gun, and a Hope and a Prayer. Doesn't really get a whole lot out of it, though, as he is now limping out of this fight and wondering which way is the way to go. Well, taking a little bit of a splish splash in the blood puddle will help out, make sure that he's not going to be railable here, but it's going to cost him so much time, and he still doesn't have a rocket launcher before the next mega health. But he's got one rail on Nyx, which certainly goes a long way, and that might help him resolve himself from some of these previous fights. Really awkward way for him to start, but he's going to get a sure thing on that armor. Not going to take any chances with, you know, jumping like a lame dude. He's just going to take the Dire Orb over there.
Yeah, shaky start. It's funny, I just mentioned that spawn, how I don't like it, because you can catch a direct rocket jumping across. That's literally what happened to the poor guy. But a good recovery by ID here to keep himself from getting fragged. And now he's back in a position where he can start to look for a stack.
All right, but they're both hurting here, but it's going to be a pickup of the Mega from ID, but the damage from Griffin's Nyx is just too much to handle at that point. Couldn't get a clean extraction, but now he can get his sights on Griffin's Nyx. But again, weapons.
Good rockets.
need weapons. Yeah,
it was a good play by Griffin. I don't think ID should have. I think when he sees the video, I think he's going to rethink that decision.
I mean, there's a lot you can do with the nail gun, but it's just not going to be consistent enough to trust against a rocket launcher or a rail. He's finally got himself LG, though. Coming back up top map. Still a lot of time before the next armor comes back up. And he's going to be preventing Nyx from doing a bit of a ghost walk play there, but, you know, who needs ghost walk when you have a rocket launcher? It's going to be 2 frags up for Griffin here.
Great play. Griffin's looking really strong right now. Really strong. It's even just coming around the corner there and reading, you know, you kind of get a read on the respawns. You start playing enough and you get kills. You start recognizing, oh, I get a kill here. I should go check here next. He did the nice read and got those 2 rails of rocket launcher to get the win in that round.
Oh, geez. That's actually my least favorite spawn spot there, both directly across from Mega. But they both decide not to play the dangerous game. It's actually going to be Griffin getting the pickup of the Mega itself and getting the grab of the armor, too. So this is a really poorly off visor from ID here. This is a bit of a nasty place to be. There's nothing coming up for a little bit. He has to cross the map to go back over and get some armor and maybe some health. And if Griffin decides to face a fight there, yeah, he's around the corner. He's ready with that railgun. So ID's got to hope
that was a hello. That was the hello. I know you're there.
No, you're up there. Just making him take a little bit longer there than he needed to. And look at this. He's a little bit surprised by the LG. A little bit worked up. Needs to take a breath here and listen for Griffin. But listening for Griffin, you know, having an LG out might be a little bit counterproductive to that. But the damage is pretty good here. Griffin takes away the Ghost Walk, and there's the response on the piercing sight. So Griffin's not going to be getting away here, but can ID actually get the follow-up? He's burning so much health on this chase. He's down to 25. Going for a Mega is going to be so dangerous here. Where'd it come from? It came from up top. 3 health. Going to sit on it for a whole second. So dangerous.
He's being very dangerous. Good play. Griffin's really on top of it right now. He's playing really strong. ID's making some careless decisions, and Griffin's landing some great shots too, making him pay for it.
Well, the great shots are finally starting to come out of ID here as he catches him with a rocket launcher. It took a lot of rockets to get that damage done, though. But the worst thing is that at the end of that fight, ID still doesn't really have a really good grip on the timing, on positioning, or anything else for that matter. So he's got a lot of groundwork to do even after getting that frag. He's going to get reminded by the Dire Orb that Mega is indeed up. It's going to be, oh, not quite a trade. Griffin is going to get 2 for 1, 3 for 1 if you count the frag. And I'm sure Griffin is.
Good read here. He heard that armor pick up. Those great rockets by Griffin. Again, mistake by ID. Spent too much time trying to cut off the map.
Oh, he wanted to get clever with the shotgun. I see. That was an idea.
Griffin's really playing sharp. ID's not playing terribly sharp. I'm wondering if that connection issue is kind of messing with this play. Because you could just see he seems to be struggling a little bit, and he's getting off to a poor start every game. So Griffin right now is really getting off to a strong start.
All right, there's the warping that we were warned about. Yeah, he's taking a peek over the ledge, and the netcode's saying, nope, you didn't get that. Wow. Forget the Dire Orb. This guy is just in every dimension possible. All right, it looks like he's finally gotten things under control here once again. He's got the pickup of the armor through all that. But man, the rockets from Griffin are just on point. I mean, he's not having a lot of trouble finding out ID's actual position at any moment here.
No, well placed, and the sign of experience, somebody who's been putting in the time. When he launches somebody, he's on top of their trajectory, and he's hitting them with great follow-up rockets.
Griffin's a little bit paranoid here now. Seeing some warping like that, I can't entirely blame him, but he's at railable health. Going back up to the back of the map for a little bit of armor, just to prevent that shot. He's only got the one frag.
Anytime you're within that one rail shot of death, you need to be careful and be thinking about whatever. Sneak around so you can at least take one rail shot.
He's going for the ambush on the Ghost Walk. I mean, really ballsy to just, take it right in front of him. But it also meant that he was not going to be bounced out of the play for the Mega. I mean, if he got hit, cool. He drops down and he gets Mega. So I can't really hate that decision.
But you're right. Definitely big ice water in his veins to do that. So.
Yeah.
Oof, trading some great shots there.
Crossing that gap is always so risky, especially at 25 health. He's looking for the rail. You can see how nervous he is. He's just wondering where the 25s are. He's finally going to get a couple. With the 2 points of armor, it's not going to be enough to hold off against ID's rocket there. That'll even things back up here for the first time.
Yeah, couldn't quite get that stack up enough. One good rocket, and down he goes.
It's so satisfying when you can actually land a hit with the tri-bolt. And the spam was certainly worthwhile. ID was able to get the Mega, but a lot of his armor's been burned off. Griffin still doesn't have a rocket launcher, though, so this fight's going to be really rough, especially without an LG as well. He's going to be able to create a little bit of distance, look for the rail hit. He might be going for a Dire Orb play. There's the damage, and wow, there's the follow-up rail to finish him off. It actually worked out.
Very aggressive, but he was played it slick with the Dire Orb and everything. And he can tell, I think he's feeling really confident right now. He feels like he has ID on the ropes, which he does. And I don't know how much of that connection issue is affecting ID, right? But you got to imagine there's got to be some issue.
It's got to be frustrating here, dropping onto a rocket like that. Had to spin around to find out where it came from. Griffin is now top of the map, expecting ID down by LG. Going to be peeking. Oh, and actually gets a little bit of damage out of that rocket onto the Mega. Commits to the Dire Orb, getting a clean pickup, and ID can't quite nail on the rail.
Good rocket jump. Good rocket jump. Really good. Griffin is looking really sharp on Blood Run. He's going to definitely be a force as things move forward.
All right, so that'll be GG called on Blood Run. And yeah, I think in general, he's looking pretty confident there. His shots were on point. ID seemed to have some issues with positioning. Some of it is going to be due to his network issues, which are fully corroborated by that warping we saw, which was pretty awesome. Maybe that'll be a Ranger's next ability.
But even still, despite that, credit where credit's due. Griffin had, like I said, the rocket play, I think, was really excellent. He placed them really well, hit his follow-up shots. I think when he dropped down and he caught ID going to the Mega Health that one time was a great illustration of just how on point he is with his rocket launcher. He took one shot, bounced him up a little bit, and had it direct in his back as he was trying to, get away and get that rough. Mega Health right before. It's just, it's nasty stuff from Griffin right there. Really good play.
And on Blood Run, there are so many ways to use that diorb, and I think we saw a few of the nastier ways there. You know, going plus forward and trying to get the telefrag. If you don't get the telefrag, you still get some damage, and you hope to get that rail. And that ended up being, you know, a solid play there. Just couldn't quite get much of a response on the other side of that there. I mean, we saw BJ come out a couple times, but he died so fast each time, we never had an opportunity to see that double LG. Maybe
yeah, he just never got any momentum going. Really, maybe there was a stretch here and there for a round, like parts of the round, but he just couldn't put anything consistently together, and you can just tell the steady play was coming from Griffin, and then that's why he got the win.
Were there any points there where you thought Griffin was maybe, you know, on the back leg a little bit, or not dealing with things well? It looked like he was pretty solidly in charge of every situation he walked away from there.
I didn't come away from my sense of watching it. I felt he was firmly in control, and I felt he was on the path to winning that match unless some kind of momentum shift happened. Definitely, Griffin was, like I said, he's putting a lot of pressure on ID. ID was making some mistakes, being forced into some other mistakes, some great shots and prediction by Griffin. And and like I said, of course, the network issues that he's, you know, he has wherever he's playing from, Timbuktu or whatnot. You know,
outer space,
that's also the outer space. He's on a space station right now. But you know, other than that, you know, I think there is some decision making issues that he needs to be aware of. But you know, it's sometimes it's hard to say because I don't know what he's experiencing. You know, from the playing, you know, the gameplay affecting issues. So he could be trying to do certain things and maybe running into a little rubber banding. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, fortunately, if you can get the double LG, it doesn't take long to compensate for that latency. But we're seeing BJ and Nyx picked out here from ID. So far on Griffin's side, we've got Ranger and Nyx again. Might see some heavier guys. There's the counter Nyx Visor. On Ruins and Sarnath, absolutely important for sure.
Maybe an Anarchy here from Griffin?
Wouldn't be too surprised.
Or Galena?
Oh, okay,
also
cool.
With Visor.
Almost symmetric there, just the BJ and Ranger difference.
Yeah, Visor's a solid pick across any duel map. The sight ability to, you know, to see through walls and get you a little peek where your opponent is or heading is really, really good. Especially, I think, on a map like Sarnath or a map like Blood Run. You know, there's a lot of different routes you can take. The maps are a little, you know, kind of large where people can avoid you, and it's good to kind of get that peek. And see where they're going. On
a map like Sarnath, I mean, I've played my fair share of international tournaments where I'm definitely at a ping disadvantage. And the thing I always try to do is, you know, find maps where I don't have to have, like, you know, close range fights all the time, and I can just rely on, you know, getting some free damage from across the map or on an item or something. And Sarnath might give ID some of those opportunities. We're gonna have to see here.
Yeah, you can rail, I think, a little easier, obviously with some latency. Railing and to a lesser degree, a rocket launcher. Lightning gun is it's any kind of hit scan weapon other than the rail, because it's just a one shot. It can get really frustrating with some latency.
Absolutely. All right, but here we go well into Ruins of Sarnath. That's going to be even on the item pickups here so far. ID looking for Griffin to come out of the armor and open himself up to a rocket launcher. It's not going to happen. You know, worst thing that happens there is that you get a free rail. No big deal there. So now they're just looking across the kind of corners of the map here as they may be traversing through them in order to set up for the next item. But at some point here, ID is going to need to push back in and get ready for this next mega. He's going to be just on time, seeing that Griffin has already made his escape, but he wants a little bit more free damage before he lets Griffin get away completely. Nicely done.
Good play. Good play. He hit that first rail and followed it up. He gave up mega here, but he wanted that initial kill. That's one of the things I kind of like. I really like about Quake Champions is how he was able to just, you know what, get this other item right now.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
That Goomba rocket, for sure.
Just right on his head, right on top of his head.
All right, this is where ID just magically fixes his connection and just completely stomps out Griffin. Beautiful round, very quick one out of ID there. I was thinking maybe it would take a little bit longer and get some longer range rails. Nope, ID went straight for the throat.
Well, yeah, he made a good decision there. When he first hit that rail, you can see Griffin was thinking, okay, he's going to go to Mega and I'm going to take heavy armor because they're both at the same time. And he got a little too passive, I guess, there, and ID went aggressive and went right after him to get that frag and kept him off of the heavy armor. He's like, I'm not going to let you go get that for free. And it was a good play.
Oof. These vertical plays over the rail are always a little bit difficult. But nice rocket donk out of ID. It's going to give him a little bit more room from Griffin here. Coming back into rocket launcher, he's expecting to play it through nail gun. Not going to get it just yet, so we might be pushing out towards the armor here, looking to do some damage against that ranger. Ends up eating a rail instead. That's going to make this grab of Mega a little bit more difficult for him, especially with that follow-up damage there. With only 13 health, he's going to be put back into a relatively risky part of the map. There's 225s there and some hourglasses as well. But if your opponent wants a frag there and a fight, it's very difficult to extract yourself from.
Yeah, he's a little fortunate Griffin didn't decide to just straight pursue there after putting some damage on him.
All right, so he's going to be using his ability to make sure that he can cross the street safely here. Still looking for an LG, going to be able to get it there. So this one has absolutely slowed down after getting that first round so decisively. He's looking for the 90 rail hit, not quite going to get it. And he's not going to get a fight over the Mega because the Mega's already gone. I mean, having to duck out of these last two fights has cost him not only in terms of stack, but also in terms of timing. He's going to need to stay relatively close to these next couple fights in order to get that back, let alone the item.
Yeah, Griffin's in a good spot right now. He's ready to get a kill. Here it is.
Oof. And he had a decent amount of stack there.
Very careful now.
With only 8 seconds between Mega and the heavy armor, he can dive down there relatively safely. He's already going to have a Mega coming into this, and an early rail means that ID will be very short for the world. Nyx is going to be his last chance here on this round.
Very foolish. I know he had the BJ ability. One, you prefer to have a nice lightning gun pin on somebody, and two, he didn't have hardly any stack, and Griffin is in clear control. Wasn't
especially with opening up with that rail. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so ID's in big trouble right now. So it looks like Griffin's probably going to tie it up unless something drastic here happens. ID's on the ropes right now, 50 health. He's really just looking for anything.
Griffin took a bit of a more defensive route going to the armor there, but the timing is still, you know, only about 8 seconds there. Plenty enough time for Griffin to cycle them there. But he's going plus forward against ID with not a whole lot of health. He's going to have to come out of here, but I'm sure he's done enough damage to ID to make him think twice. Look at this. You can barely even see his health bar there, and that's going to tie things back up 1-1.
Good recognition of player stacks. It's good weapon selection. You know, he knew ID could only take so much. That's why he was so aggressive with the lightning gun, because he knew any damage he put on him at that point was going to put him in a critical state. And then he saw the machine gun finish. Again, it was good. Nothing fancy in the frag.
Just a reliable 8 damage attack, you know? All right, so there's the pickup of LG. I like that, being able to throw the dire orb to get an item, but still plus backing in order to get a weapon. Very handy there. He's already got the rail, and he's got the bead on ID as well. If ID comes up this jump pad, he might be in a world of hurt. Or through the teleporter? No. All right, he's going to take the long way through. But again, he's lost his conception of the timing here, and it's really costing him. All he can pick up is a smaller armor and a ton of 25 health pickups. In the meantime, he better have an ear peeled for this Mega.
You can hear that through the floor, so you should definitely have heard that. And same with Griffin, so I think he heard him pick up the armor.
Yeah, they've finally traded items here, which is the best that ID's been doing here so far. Now, like you said, once you have BJ and an LG, there's a lot you can do, but a little bit of stack goes a long way as well to make sure that you can get in those cells. And now that's actually something. Oof. Yeah, that's an ability that Griffin has to respect here. I mean, it is a little bit of a Hail Mary ability, but it works like a charm. So yeah, Griffin's is favoring the longer range engagements here, making sure to get some free rails in before getting anywhere close to ID. ID can use that potentially to push Griffin off of some items, but so far, this has meant that he's pushing him through items as Griffin gets the pickup on his way out.
Yeah, he's got to think about cutting off the map rather than just following him. You know, like you said, he's kind of going along his route. Good rockets there.
Really good read out of Griffin to force that fight just 2 seconds before the Mega came up, not giving ID the option to recover on that during the fight.
And the advantage of knowing exactly when something spawns when your opponent has some idea, it makes a big difference because you know exactly when you can jump on something and take a little damage, you know, versus, oh, I'm going to jump on there and, you know, I got to wait another second or two.
Absolutely, but right now the pendulum swing is really hurting ID as he's down to his visor. Ada Rocket pretty fresh off the spawn as well, so once again we're seeing Griffin back in control of the map. We might be seeing ID show up here at the armor. Griffin is going to make sure that it's not going to be an easy thing to do, and in fact he's going for a little bit of a chase here as he's narrowing down where ID could be hiding. Now, once you lose your opponent at either Mega or Armor, you have the 2 smaller armors that your opponent can potentially juke to. And it's a little bit of a 50-50 on which way they're going to go. But once you find them, you can get some damage in there with the rail. Very nicely done out of Griffin as he's chased him down to the armor room, and this could be a finishing fight. Now he's going to let him go there. All right, all right. He wants that Mega. He doesn't want to allow a flub shot costing him the fight and the item. But a flub jump will cost him the rail. But there's the damage from the LG to finish him off there.
Yeah, I agree. He was backing off, just kind of being conservative, had the lead, make sure he keeps both items, in his control. And of course, ID was caught there in the central area, and it did the work for him. He didn't have to go anywhere and search him down.
All right, but Griffin could put this one in the can here pretty soon if ID doesn't have any other ideas. Griffin taking a fairly standard approach through Mega to Rocket Launcher, and that's a pretty good place to be. I mean, you can go for rail if you decide it's safe. You can take a longer route and go get LG. HMG is absolutely a weapon that has to be respected as well, especially with the distances you're working with on this map.
Yeah, HMG can dish out a lot of damage, 10 unzoomed, 15 zoomed. It can pick at you, and it's easy to underestimate. He's just shooting a machine gun. He's only hitting you here and there, but it can whittle you down really, really quickly. And I agree, getting the rocket launcher spawn is nice because you get that mega health and you get the RL.
Oh, jeez.
The rocket really is the most consistent weapon you can have in this game.
The poor chained eyeball is getting a lot of abuse there, but so is ID as he took a couple direct rockets and is now definitely on the back leg. But the thing is that once you go up for that armor, it's actually kind of in a crappy spot by itself. I mean, we had Griffin hear it. He's looking for the rail. Didn't quite catch ID making his escape up the stairs, and that could actually give ID the Mega if he can show up here. He's not going to be quite in position. He's going to hear Griffin going for the grab, but there's still not... This is not a good time to dive down for the armor. In fact, he's trapping it with the LG. Has done a ton of damage, but with only 11 health left over, by merit of having a little bit better aim, a little bit of a better stack, Griffin can hold on to the fight. But he's going to be relatively weak as ID spawns back up as a BJ. This is a great time to grab LG, which it looks like BJ has, and go for the ability usage. And I think Griffin is well aware of that.
Yeah, it's ID was just trying to make a read and get that LG stream on him, which he did. But it was again one of those calculated risks. It just doesn't work out for him. The guy, like I said, hit him with just two less shots of that LG than he needed.
Yeah,
really.
That's all it comes down to. But right now it's coming down to Nyx for ID. Has to make a miracle happen here as he pops through the teleporter, but immediately hits a rail. Griffin has been so consistent with these fadeaway rails that ID is not even looking for. That's been a bit of an issue here so far. Now Griffin is on the hunt. He's not willing to wait this thing out for 3 minutes. He wants blood, and he's going to get it, giving him the map and match victory.
Yeah, great push. Had him low, forced the ghost walk, so he knew that's going to be down for over 30 seconds, And then he pushed that area where there was health, the small armor, and then the hourglass is back there. He's going to want his ghost walk back as quickly as possible, especially given that he's in critical state. Great play by Griffin. Really solid, really solid. I don't know how much the connection issues were affecting ID, so I can't really comment too much on what was going on his end.
Yeah,